Well, it was interesting because you do a lot of stuff around the Scarface theme.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Plugs I Met, the cover is the Scarface cover with
Mm-hmm.
him and Sosa. And it's interesting because I actually interviewed this guy named George Valdez,
Mm-hmm.
who they based the Scarface movie on.
Oh, word.
He was this Cuban who ended up being one of the biggest drug dealers in America. And he actually knew Sosa from Bolivia.
By the way, the guy in Scarface that comes to kill Tony Montana, that was my partner in Bolivia. And some people said that there was some reference to Scarface from my story because I had a cougar and Tony Montana had a tiger. We both went to the same club. There's a book called Hotel Scarface, a great book, and it depicts that whole life how we took over Miami.
That's like every Cuban though. That's almost every Cuban. That's almost every Cuban. You know what I mean? But I never knew it was a real person.
Yeah. He was facing 8 life sentences.
Damn, he out?
Point. He's out.
Shit.
Yeah. George Valdez. You should look it up. It was a very ill interview. He was dealing with Pablo Escobar. He had a hit on him at one point from Escobar and everything. It was pretty crazy.
No, I gotta fuck with him. I gotta Google him.
Yeah. George Valdez.
I'm intrigued by shit like that.
Yeah. Well, since last time, Shannon Sharpe goes on a show and he said no great rappers ever come out of Buffalo. Right. And you took offense to that.
Right.
Okay. Well, number one, why were you offended by that?
Because he wasn't speaking off of research. He didn't do his research well enough. Maybe he probably was talking about, I guess he was talking about established artists or whatever he was talking about, but he ain't do his research good enough to say no great rappers come out of Buffalo, because what I'm doing sitting right here right now. You know what I mean? In the middle of a Griselda hike, in the middle of us going up, he said that. You know what I mean?
Well, Shannon Sharpe is 51 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not exactly your target audience.
Right.
I'm sure if you go to a Benny the Butcher or a Griselda show, you don't see a bunch of 50-year-olds in the audience.
No, that's why he was corrected, because he kind of didn't know what he was talking about. So that's why he was corrected, because like you said, he up there a little bit. He really not tapped in, so he was speaking, just speaking, in my opinion.
Right. I actually reached out to him. We text each other sometimes, and I'm like, "Do you want to respond?" He said, "No, man, I'm not tripping off all that."
He don't need to respond. He a big football analyst. He ain't think about this shit. This secondary. He was just talking for shits and giggles. But we do this shit every day, so I had to correct him.
Yeah, I guess you would run into him at the airport once.
Yeah, I ran into him at the airport, and I'm thinking, oh, that's Shannon Sharpe. I was about to introduce myself. I should have introduced myself because we was sitting across from each other. He was staring at me. He was looking at me. You know what I'm saying? You see another young black person. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I looked like I was into something, so he was kind of looking like I was peeking at him. But I never said nothing. But when I seen the interview when he said that, I'm like, damn, maybe I should have introduced myself.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like he was really like meant any harm by it.
No, he didn't. Know. Everybody know how Shannon go. He was just talking, having a good time. Same thing I was doing when you know what I mean? There's no hard feelings, man. I'm a fan of Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah, he's dope. And he's also one of the greatest, really, football players in his position.
That's a fact.